So tell me about human design and what that is.
Okay, yeah, because you're actually very new to human design, so I'm really excited to introduce you to it. Human design is a synthesis of all of the ancient wisdom traditions. Well, maybe not all of them, but the major ones like astrology, the I Ching, the Kabbalah tree of life, the Hindu chakra system, and then all of these factors that come together that calculate out who you are on a genetic level, on a energetic level. They all come together, and as we're born, we are activated by the neutrino streams that quantum physicists have found have mass and carry information. And that's what makes us who we are, body, mind, and spirit. So we come into these vehicles, our energetic being, our soul being comes into these vehicles, and we can read that through this body graph that looks like, hold on, something like this. You can see the calculations of the I Ching gates that are connected to planets. And then you can see how these gates are actually activating certain energy centers, or these are actually the numbers of the I Ching hexagrams, which we call gates in human design. And they come together and they activate energy centers where we have energy to consistently function in the world. So it's a fascinating system. It tells you how you are designed to live and work and be who you are on the planet and be healthy as who you are. Be healthy and be vibrant and be aligned, and how you're programmed to do that. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
That's fascinating. And so everybody has a different design, or are there certain types of people or
Everyone has a different design, and it's calculated off of your birth data, just like your natal chart in astrology. And then there's that added layer of the hexagrams of the I Ching, which are actually related to the 64 codons of DNA. So you have an aspect that's calculated at the time of the birth that's known as the personality. It's who you know yourself to be. And then the calculations are walked back about 88 degrees or 88 days, 3 months approximately. And those are the calculations for how your vehicle or your body is wired to function in the world. And that information contains things like what you inherited, what you're here to work out, what your body needs to function. And it's more of the automatic aspect of us rather than who we think we are, because we come in with these big desires and we're activated at the time of birth. And then there's the body, that's like, okay, well, you know, I have a way of making decisions that's wired into the cues in my body, the way my body functions. I have a way of metabolizing energy and metabolizing chemicals and ways that I'm set up to have chemical reactions in my body for emotions and things like that. And all of that's kind of in the chart and wired in a beautiful way.
so it sounds like having an understanding of your design could really help you to live a better life and be more in balance and
Absolutely, because when you are living from this truth, this deep truth of who you are, who you have innately come in to be, how you're wired to be, what themes you carry, whether they be the themes of your deep soul's desires or the themes that you carry from your ancestors. It's all there. And when you begin to unravel that and to tap into that, you can't help but be more of who you are with less resistance. I think we've all been trained and guided in certain ways as we've grown up to think that we need to be like certain people in our lives, like our role models, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're all here for each other, and that's even in the chart, understanding how you're here to interact with other people. But a lot of times we get into this illusion that we have to be, or we compare ourselves to someone else, or we have to be like someone else, or we have to do the things that other people do in order to be healthy, happy, wealthy, and wise. And for a lot of people on the planet, that's just not true. And we see that with disease and with the rates of depression, the way that people get into jobs that just aren't right for them. We see it. And it's quite painful to watch. And it's quite painful if you're in the body that's living that. So human design is really to shed light on, how you can align and be more of who you are and have less resistance.
That sounds like an incredible tool. So how are you applying that in your practice to help others?
Well, a lot of people have come to me in the throes of burnout or have experienced a big life change that gave them a revelation that they have to do something different in their lives. So a lot of what I do is I look at their charts and I show them where they may be overworking when they don't need to work so hard, where they're trying to, for instance, gain approval or attention or reach out for things that if they just sat back and they were themselves, it would actually come to them much easier. So we talk about things like the basics of self-reflection, of getting enough sleep, of interacting with others in ways where you can begin to separate who you are from who they are. And I work with a lot of empaths who actually really absorb energy, and we're both part of that group, the projector energy types. So we kind of understand that sometimes we become the other person. And the human design chart can actually show you where that is, where you become that other person. Do you absorb their emotions? Do you absorb their soul pain? Do you absorb their ideas and inspiration? Or if you're another energy type, how does that energy come to you, and how do you sort of get distracted from who you know yourself to be or suspect that you are and begin to act like the other ones who are influencing you? But we start with the basics. Are you working in ways that are correct for you? Are you sleeping and managing your energy in ways that are healthy for you? Are you managing your emotions? Are you pushing too hard where you can relax? And how are you doing that? And all of that can be seen in the chart. And once you see it, you can work with it.
That's awesome. So it sounds like that could help people with manifesting more abundance in their lives and just being happier and healthier and more in balance and having better relationships and
Oh, absolutely. And it all starts with knowing yourself. Like with relationships, it starts with knowing yourself and then beginning to observe everyone else in relationship to you. And it's not uncommon for people to really get in touch with who they are and begin to align with their unique energy frequency, and then they want to get the charts of everyone else as well. But I always slow people down and go, okay, wait a minute, let's start with the basics here. You're upset with your spouse because you're not getting enough time for yourself, and let's see what's happening here that creates this pattern over and over again. And usually it has something to do with emotional dynamics where one person may be amplifying emotions, or it has something to do with other patterns that are actually part of the person's chart, that are part of the consistent way that they act or react, which can then evolve into a higher expression. Like some people are wired to be nurturers. They're designed to be nurturers, but maybe they also are designed to absorb and amplify other people's emotions. And this is a classic example of codependency that can be seen in the chart. Everybody else comes first because that person doesn't want people to feel bad because it feels bad in their body. And when they realize what's going on, they can let go of the emotions over time and understand that that's just information for them. They don't have to do anything about it. And then the actual coding that they have inside of them that makes them an innate nurturer can then take a more evolved expression of being the one who can step in or manage how everyone's fed and how everyone gets educated or how the children are treated and raised without the tendency to overgive and to give yourself away.
Wow, it sounds like a powerful way to really understand yourself, and it could have a lot of incredible benefits on your life to not be struggling against who you are. And like for me, knowing that I process things emotionally, that was a huge thing for me because I always was really hard on myself when I would get into those emotional times. And I think, what's wrong with me? Why do I get so emotional when other people are
Yeah.
just able to deal with it so much in a different way? And so it could be a powerful tool for sure.
Yeah, and then that throws all of the basics off, you know, the basics of how are you sleeping? Are you overeating? You know, are you emotionally eating, which actually can be hardwired into people's charts. The shadow aspect of the 3955 channel, which is one of the two hexagrams that come together, can make you so that you do unconsciously overeat out of the fear of not ever being full, or out of the fear of being empty, I guess is a better way to say that. So either you're overeating because you're trying to protect yourself because you're taking stuff in, or you may have some of these dynamics in your chart where you may overeat because of an unconscious fear, not being fully aware of what that energy or that strength within you is about and how to use that energy that you have access to in a consistently healthy and balanced way.
So powerful.
It is. It really is. And it's fascinating to get in and to turn people on to the different nuances of what may be throwing them off balance and how they can begin to rebalance.
Amazing. So if people are interested in learning more about this and how to bring this into their lives, and what's a good way for them to get started with all of this?
The ultimate would be to have a reading. And the intermediate to that, the step before that, if you're not really sure that you want to deep dive into this whole foreign looking body graph kind of thing that, you know, is to take a class. And I do offer classes. And the next one I have coming up is actually called Self-Care by Design. So it's all about the basics of what's your energy type and what's your strategy for meeting life. How does life come to you, and how do you use your energy correctly in a way where you're not going to tire yourself out, where you're not going to overdo it, and you allow those opportunities and the right other people to come to you. And then also, how do you make decisions? And then how does that translate into the big issues like sleep, like exercise and activity, work, and relationships? How do we not tire ourselves out or overdo it in relationships? Because a lot of times that's the big issue, right? With people that are burned out or they struggle with their own self-care, is that everybody comes first before them. And that has to do with our children and our family members, our spouses, our partners, our co-workers, whoever we're dealing with in relationship. An introductory workshop isn't going to cover all of the nuances, but it will give you a really good understanding of what your energy type is, how you can begin to align with the way that your energy runs and what the purpose of your energy type is, because every energy type has a different purpose, and we're all here to work in relationship together, or to be in relationship together, because we give something special to each other. that the other doesn't have. But we all have to be who we are. We all have to be meeting life with the strategy that allows us to take in the right opportunities, and we all have to be very clear about how we make decisions and how we take care of ourselves.
Wow. That's just it seems like such a profound tool to help you move through life for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is, and I'm very excited to share it, and I'm really excited that we've made a connection so that we can talk more about human design and how it can benefit people with their own well-being and their own balance in their lives.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be incredible to see how this can be applied in their lives as we go through this class. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yes, I'm excited to have you. And if I had to do one foundational class, this is the one that has the most practical benefit of just getting people into understanding those basics of their energy type, their strategy, the way they make decisions, and applying it to things that are really fundamentally essential to their well-being. Those things of making decisions and taking care of yourself and understanding how your energy works really will take you into a whole new level of balance and well-being.
I'm so excited to do this course with you, and for anyone else that's interested in joining us, we'll post a link in the comments, and we would love to have you.